Hey guys, it's Sammy and this is Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the, what's the date today? The 20th of April, 2022 to talk about everything that went down tonight on AEW Dynamite. You know, I thought tonight's Dynamite was just all right. We had some good things, I won't lie, but like the main event, I could care less about that main event. I never once got into that match. And it was too overbooked. I mean, before the commercial break, we're over here trying to watch a match with Darby, Allin, and Andrade, and they're over here focusing on Sting and Private Party and all this stuff going on. And I'm like, hey, focus on the guys booked in the match. I get it, no DQ, you could do all this, but they're not even fighting the guys in the match. It's like we're watching another match. And AEW does this too often. AEW does this too often as far as overbooking matches and then taking the focus, like they did at the very end of the show, off of the people that the focus is supposed to be on for somebody else. And they did it at the end for the Hardys too. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PW Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, just like Cold Cuts KC recently did, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and always one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. You just got to remember that every month, you got to redo the subscription manually. You got to click that subscribe button manually, because the reason it doesn't go manually for the same people every month, because they want you to spread that love around. But if you got it, give it to us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And also remember, it doesn't have to be your Amazon Prime account. It could be your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, your uncle, anybody you know with Amazon Prime. You link it to your Twitch account. It doesn't cost anything extra. Bada bing, bada boom. You're Prime Gaming. But on the flip side, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out over there as well with a super chat or a super sticker donation. Remember, all super chats do get read live on the air. Also, remember that if you want to, you can hit that join button down below and get early access to news, early access to podcasts, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Just like the video we have up right now for subscribers, either on YouTube as a member or over at patreon.com/PW Unlimited. We did a little bit of a retro review this past Monday night on Raw. Cody Rhodes talked about how, you know, Buffalo got a big meaning when it comes to him and Seth. And what he was talking about was Battleground 2013, I want to say it was. Battleground 2013, when it was the Rhodes Dynasty, the Brotherhood, against the Shield with their jobs on the line. The Rhodes, that is. So we did do a review of that match. We'll be doing another retro review next week, which is the follow-up to that match. It's Raw, I want to say 2 weeks later, when the Rhodes defeated the Shield for the Tag Team Championships. So that will also be up next week, as well as another retro review for Patreon subscribers and channel members. But with that, also remember to go over to the Epic Game Store and buy a game. Whether you're looking to get Sifu, whether you're looking to get Grand Theft Auto 5, Rainbow Six Extraction, it's going to ask you before checkout if you have a creator code, and you do, PW Unlimited. Code right here, PW Unlimited. Use that code whether you're buying a game on the Epic Game Store, claiming a free game on the Epic Game Store, or you're on your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Nintendo Switch, or so forth, playing Rocket League or Fortnite. You go to the item shops on those stores. You could also put in a creator code. You got one. It's creator code PW Unlimited. But with that, let's jump in and talk about AEW Dynamite. So the show kicks off with CM Punk. It seems like every time Punk has a match on Dynamite, it opens the show. They always want the first thing you see. Like, whenever Punk's got a match, it's like the first thing you got to see and hear when Dynamite opens is you got the Dynamite video, I don't know the song, but I know the rhythm anyways. And then it's Brandon and Brandon and Brandon. You know, it feels like as often as Tony Khan can, he wants the first thing we hear, cult of personality. And that happened tonight when we had Dustin Rhodes versus CM Punk, which was a very, very fun match. I enjoyed the crap out of this match. So the two shook hands as the bell rang, and they exchanged some holds early on for the first couple minutes, actually. Punk avoided a running crossbody and sent Dustin crashing to the floor. Dustin's left knee seemed to be hurt on the fall, so Punk targeted it with strikes throughout a commercial break. During that commercial picture-in-picture break, Dustin came back with the lariat, and Punk swept out the leg again, this time on the apron. The two competitors traded strikes in the ring, and Dustin landed a back body drop before hitting a flurry of offense. He concluded this with 10 punches in the corner. He then hit the code red and got a 2 off of it. Punk wanted the GTS, but Dustin hit his drop-down right hand into a snap power slam for a 2. Just like I said on our retro review, Dustin's got one of the best snap power slams ever. I feel like the two best snap power slams I've ever seen are Dustin Rhodes and Randy Orton, and Dustin's still got that perfect crisp snap right on the power slam. Like, no matter how old he gets, he's still got that quickness, I guess you can call it. I don't know why I did it like that. Quickness. Anyways. Punk regained control with the chop block on Dustin's injured knee. He locked on a figure 4, which Dustin eventually fought out of with some slaps, allowing him to reverse the pressure. Punk then grabbed the ropes to force the break. Dustin countered a diving clothesline with the right hand before hitting the crossroads and a straight pile driver for a near fall. Punk hit a roundhouse kick and went for the GTS, but the knee gave out. So he cradled Dustin and picked up the victory. Kind of a weird finish there. I don't know what was going on with Punk's knee. It didn't look like, I don't even know how to explain it. It literally looked like the knee gave out for real. Like, it was weird. Like, they were working Dustin's knee the whole match. And then Punk's knee gives out, which is weird. And then he just cradles him for the victory. So I'm like, hopefully Punk's okay. Hopefully Punk's okay. After the match, Punk was leaving. As he got to the top of the ramp, the music of the Hangman, the AEW World Champion, would play. Hangman would come out on the stage. The two would go face to face. Basically, they just told us, hey, here is our double or nothing main event. We had an earlier today video where Wardlow arrived at the arena. He was met with a bunch of security and smart Mark Sterling. Sterling informed him that he'd be escorted directly to the locker room, to the ring, and then out of the arena. So maybe he'd want to take his luggage, his suitcase, with him to his match, because he's leaving as soon as his match is over. He also said, hey, wherever you are tonight, you must be handcuffed. You have to wear these. Let's go. Finally, he said, oh, and I got a message from MJF. Yeah, eat shit, pig. Then we had a 6-man tag team match. This was a fun match as well. William Regal was on commentary as the Blackpool Combat Club. Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta took on the team of Dante Martin, Lee Moriarty, and Brock Anderson. Interesting that Darius is inconspicuously missing. He came back, and I don't think we've seen him ever since. Darius Martin. Let's see. Darius Martin. So since his return, he's had a number of matches, more than I remember. Oh, that's because most of them are on Dark and Rampage. But interesting that he's not working again. He didn't work this match. He's not booked for the 10-man tag with his brother next week either. So it's like, uh-oh, what's going on with Darius Martin? Hopefully he's not hurt again. Anyways, well, like I said, Regal was on commentary here. And two things to note from entrances. Danielson wearing a shirt with a logo, not just a plain white tee. And for some reason, Wheeler Yuta was not announced as the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. He came out with the belt, but was not announced as the champion. Very interesting. So the BCC went right after their opponents before the bell. Yuta locked Dante in a bow and arrow stretch. Danielson tagged in, but Dante was able to fight both him and Moxley off before bringing in Brock. Moxley took down Brock with a half and half as the BCC continued to dominate leading into the break. Once back from the break, there was a spine buster from Brock that allowed him to reach Moriarty for the hot tag. Moriarty took out all three opponents before landing a springboard forearm on Danielson. Trade slaps and uppercuts here until Moriarty hit an arm trap suplex for a 2. He locked on the Border City stretch, but Danielson stood up out of it and hit a regal plex. Dante tagged in and took out Danielson with a springboard dropkick before a second springboard dive landed on Moxley. He hesitated on the nosedive, allowing Moxley to turn it into a bulldog choke. Moriarty then tried to break it up, but Danielson kicked his head in as Yuta laid in elbows on Brock. They were like, each man of the BCC paired off with another opponent. They were just beating them and beating them and beating them. And then finally, Moxley stands up, hits the paradigm shift, a wicked looking paradigm shift at that, on Dante Martin, and picks up the victory. The BCC do get the big win here. Gabriel says Darius wrestled last dark with the Hardys. Gotcha. It's just interesting that he's not on the show here tonight. Now that I'm looking into this, yeah, okay, so I'm looking at, so the 15th, which was just a couple days ago, 5 days ago, he did work a match, technically last week. Hopefully he wasn't injured in that match, because he was not booked on Dynamite tonight, and he's not booked for next week, even though his brother is. You would think they'd be booked together. I don't understand why not, though. Yeah, MGT Hardys also didn't feel like a big deal when they came out and stole the spotlight from Darby at the end of the show, but we'll talk about that later. Then in an interesting segment, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks were there with Red Dragon. They were all wearing black. We even had, I think it was Kyle O'Reilly go, what's going on? Why aren't you in your rompers and your crazy outfits and all that stuff? Something wrong? Yeah, you guys lost to FTR. We lost to the Jungle Cruise. But we're the Undisputed Elite. And we need to get back out there. Kyle O'Reilly said tonight he would beat Jungle Boy and qualify for the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Cole then said they couldn't be stopped as a team. Yes, they've all lost championship opportunities. So next week, the EU, the Undisputed Elite, will be hosting an open challenge, a 10-man tag, they say. Then we got a video. This is a promo. Just hyping up the whole Samoa Joe, Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh stuff. Dutt said the Satnam Singh will carry on his legacy because he is the greatest Indian-born wrestler since in the last, what did he say, in the last decade, I think is what he called himself. Or I don't even remember. But he said that I'm the best, Indian wrestler of the last whatever years. And Satnam Singh is going to carry on my legacy. Joe, they called himself Inevitable. Then we got the big announcement. We got Tony Khan's big announcement. Tony Schiavone was on the stage and he said, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring out to you the owner, the president, the CEO of All Elite Wrestling, Tony Khan. Tony Khan came out and said, hey, I want to bring out the president of New Japan, Takami Ohbari. Because he had to do the voice. It's just a thing now. He had to do the voice. So Takami Ohbari comes out, the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He and Tony Khan shake hands before they're cut off by Adam Cole. Adam Cole appears on the screen and says that he should be the one to make this announcement. Nobody was a bigger star in Japan than him. I'd like to digress that one, buddy boy. He said that on Sunday, June 26th, from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, AEW and New Japan will be coming together for a show called Forbidden Door. I'm going to pull the image up too. He said that they're coming together for a show called Forbidden Door. And that, why do I not have the image here? I'll pull it up later. He said that we are coming together for the Forbidden Door. But before that, he's got a little bit of, I guess you could say, a tease for what that show could be. Because on Friday, he's going to qualify for the Owen Hart Cup tournament when he takes on Tomohiro Ishii. He then said, oh, and I got a friend that wants to say hello. Then I gotta reenact Tony Khan here. Jay White's music hits and Tony Khan goes, as you got the president of New Japan just stand there going. Jay White walks out and Tony Khan's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my hands. And he's like shocked. Oh my God, Jay White is here. Anyways, Jay White comes out. He says it's fitting that he's here as the last major New Japan Pro Wrestling U.S. co-promoted show event, headlined by him. He said he single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden. He said that the Undisputed, or the fans start chanting, Bullet Club, Bullet Club. He's like, whoa, this is not about that. This is about the Undisputed Elite and the Bullet Club, because it's still our era. He then aggressively hands the microphone back over to Tony Khan, and that's the end of the segment. It was officially announced that on Sunday, June 6th, 26th, from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, we'll be getting Forbidden Door event. We don't know many other details. We don't know if this is going to be AEW versus New Japan matches. We don't know if this is going to be matches where AEW guys team up with New Japan guys. I mean, for all we know, the main event of this show could be the Undisputed Elite versus the Bullet Club. I mean, that would be a pretty fun main event. Undisputed Elite versus the Bullet Club. You've got, I mean, I'm trying to think who would be in this match if it was Undisputed Elite versus Bullet Club. You'd have Adam Cole, you'd have Red Dragon, you'd have the Bucks, Kenny back, 6, do 12-man tag. Who would be on the other side though? Jay White, the Good Brothers, Chris Bay. I'm trying to think of everyone who's still in Bullet Club. We need 2 more. I don't even know who's still in Bullet Club, to be completely honest. Do we have like a current members list? Here we go. So we can do we got Jay White, Chris Bay, the Good Brother, and then maybe Tomohiro Ishii and Phantasmo? Or you throw in Fale in some instead of Phantasmo or Ishii? I don't know. But that could be the main event. The Undisputed Elite against the Bullet Club. People have been wanting it. People have been wanting the Elite against the Bullet Club. Now we could possibly get it. As we move forward, Jade Cargill was backstage with her new little faction, the Baddie section. I guess Red Velvet's just going to flip-flop. Because last I saw Red Velvet, she was a babyface standing up for Chris Statlander against what's her name? I just slipped my mind. I'm picturing her face. What's her name? Chat, let me know. Who was Red Velvet and Chris Statlander? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, why am I blanking here? I think Evil is still in Bullet Club, Luke might. So maybe you throw Evil in there. Kenta might take. Kenta already posted on Twitter he wants CM Punk. Layla Hirsch, that's who it was. Red Velvet was in a thing with Layla Hirsch recently as a babyface, and all of a sudden now she's just eating popcorn with Kira Hogan and Jade Cargill. So it's like, I don't know what this is. Everyone's got to be in some sort of a group in AEW. They then said that this Friday, Jade Cargill will be defending the TBS Championship against Marina Shafir, and they go, yeah, she calls herself the Problem, and Red Velvet said that, and then Kira Hogan goes, yeah, but you're the problem solver. Before the next match, MJF and Shawn Spears appeared up in the stands, MJF mocked Pittsburgh and said since Wardlow's a nobody, he'll come out to no music, and Wardlow emerged still in handcuffs. Wardlow then defeated the Butcher. They traded big man offense to start it off. Shoulder tackle from Wardlow sent the Butcher to the floor, where he produced a chair and drove Wardlow into the ring apron and the barricade. In the ring, Butcher hit a powerbomb, but Wardlow kicked out a 1. Wardlow then hit the powerbomb symphony, 4 powerbombs this time, and picked up the victory. This was all right. I mean, there's nothing bad here, but it was just all right. After the match, Wardlow was handcuffed again and led out of the ring. I mean, I'm kind of over it already, but the match itself was all right. Nothing to complain about. Eddie Kingston addressed Danielle Garcia, who he will be facing on Rampage. Everybody from their groups, I guess you could say, are banned from the building. Stablemates are not allowed to be there. He then told Jericho that everything he does to Garcia will be done to him later on. Gabriel says, Red Velvet turned heel? Random. When that happened? Last week, when she was sitting in the baddie section, just randomly. She was in that baddie section last week, catcalling Marina Shafir. It's like just random. A couple weeks ago, when was that Layla Hirsch match? When was that Layla Hirsch match? Let's see. Like 2 weeks ago. 1, 2, 3 weeks, a month ago. The Layla Hirsch match was a month ago. And yeah. Lost to Layla Hirsch. Technically beat Layla Hirsch, then lost to Layla Hirsch, and then went on a 3-match winning streak. And now it's just somebody's sidekick eating popcorn and being a baddie, whatever that means. I don't know. I ain't too hip with the kid lingo this day and age. I mean, even in my day and age, I wasn't hip with the kid lingo. But anyways, let me say I'm still a kid for only being 32. Whatever. Anyways, we move forward to the first of 2 Owen Hart qualifiers. This one for the men's tournament. I really enjoyed this match, but the crowd was very hit and miss here. The crowd really seemed off for a lot of this match. So after a back and forth exchange early on, Jungle Boy took down Kyle O'Reilly with a drop kick. O'Reilly got the better of the exchange and followed up the exchange with an armbar, but then Jungle Boy had it scouted. O'Reilly hit 3 butterfly suplexes, leading to a commercial break. Once back, Jungle Boy dumped O'Reilly over the top rope and landed a suicide dive, followed by a comeback lariat on the floor. Back in the ring, O'Reilly targeted Jungle Boy's spine before the latter landed another rebound lariat. Jungle Boy then sent O'Reilly into the corner with an overhead throw, but O'Reilly came back and applied a wrist lock on the top rope. Jungle Boy then escaped and laid in strikes. Jungle Boy was showing some aggression. He thought about the snare trap, but took too long to do it. This allowed O'Reilly to avoid it. O'Reilly then kicked out of a cradle and applied an ankle lock. Jungle Boy escaped, lock on the snare trap, forcing O'Reilly to fight to the ropes. O'Reilly then landed a modified brainbuster, climbed to the top rope, hit the diving and knee drop, and picked up the victory. After the match, Christian Cage came out, and Jungle Boy was like, I'm sorry I failed you. Christian was like, it's okay. The right guy won here. The Kyle O'Reilly winning was the right move. Jungle Boy's a champ. Jungle Boy's a bigger name right now in AEW. So, boom. Kyle O'Reilly in the tournament. It ain't going to hurt Jungle Boy at all not being in there. Axel says, are you going to Dynamite in Los Angeles and Rampage live in Ontario? Well, I won't be able to go to both. I ain't staying in LA for 3 days. I live 3.5, 4 hours away, depending on the traffic and all that. But, actually, no, it wouldn't. I'm trying to think. It would be both. But unless there's some sort of media scrum after either of those, I won't go because it wouldn't be worth it for me to drive that far and then not be able to do the review. Like, from what I've heard, I think it's just going to be a regular Dynamite and a regular Rampage. So I don't think there's going to be any media like scrums after either of those. There would be after the pay-per-view in Vegas. But if there's no opportunities for me to go there and get content, then it may not really be, monetarily worth it to do the trip. Because again, right now, gas prices in California, not cheap. Also, the drive down there. That's 3.5, 4 hours. See, how long is it from my house to, let's see, Toyota Arena, Fresno, California. Directions. On a good day, 4-hour drive. On a good day, it's a 4-hour drive, but I can probably make it in 3.5 because Disneyland's about the same distance, and I can usually make that trip to Anaheim in about 3.5 hours. But I don't think I would go. I'd like to, but I just don't think monetarily it's worth it for me if I'm not gonna be able to get content like a post-show scrum or anything. And I doubt they do a scrum there. Just days after they just did a scrum at the pay-per-view the weekend before. So as we move forward, MJF was backstage with Shawn Spears. He repeated the refrain that he's a snake. Spears produced an envelope with money, and they offered it to Jake the Snake Roberts, who walked up. Jake rambled for a little while before Lance Archer came, slapped the money out of Jake's hand, and said, "I don't need the money. I just want to fight Wardlow." And I'm like, calm down, Skippy. This was not a good segment. He's like moving all around. The camera guy, you could tell, is trying to stay out of the way. I'm like, calm down, Skippy. He's like, I just want to fight Wardlow. And then he walked off. That match is happening next week. As we move forward, we had Hook's Dynamite debut. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm actually going to pull up the image. Hook's hair looks stupid as fuck. Yes, I said it. I'll pull up the image. Where is it? I've got it right here. Like, what? Good looking kid with the hair. What? Huh? Stupid as hell. The hair. It's like, what? You could tell that it's gelled in a way. Because you could tell, right? You can't see my mouse, but the you're looking at it straight on the right side. It's all gelled to stay up that way. Like, what? Huh? That fashion? And I've never been a fashionable kind of guy. I've never been hip with what's good as far as, hairstyles and clothing, but damn. Anyways, he took on Anthony Henry, who we've seen a number of times in AEW. Hook picked Henry's ankle and immediately went for the single leg crab. He laid in strikes in the corner before hitting a variety of suplexes and throws. Tony Nese and Mark Sterling were shown at ringside. Hook then hit a sliding lariat and a crossface strike. Danhausen then appeared and tried to curse. To fucking curse Hook. I mean, Danhausen, the character he's supposed to be, he does well. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. And it's never going to be for me. And he failed to curse Hook. Hook then hit the red rum and picked up the victory. After the match, Danhausen said that he had it with Hook, and now they will fight. Hook ignored him, bumped him, and walked away. This was not a Dynamite segment. Like, this should not have been on the main show. Like, what? You're going to have casual viewers logging in, watching the show, and they go, he's trying to curse Hook, and he's sitting there going, I'm like, if I didn't know what Danhausen was, I would think that's just the dumbest thing. If I didn't know what Danhausen was. I've always ragged on MJF, or not MJF, Orange Cassidy and his character, but he grew on me. I'm still not the biggest fan of the whole soft kicks and all that, but MJF could go. Why do I keep saying MJF? I don't know why. Oh, his name's right here on my screen. Anyways, Orange Cassidy can go. And so I got all the respect in the world for Orange Cassidy and his wrestling. I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 Danhausen matches, and they were all kind of comedy matches. So I don't know if he can go like that. And so it's just kind of, In the back, Frankie Kazarian was about to call out Sammy Guevara when he was interrupted by Scorpio Sky. He said that all of his accomplishments wouldn't have been possible without Kazarian. He called up Kazarian a couple years back, I think he said 5 years ago, and asked for a favor. And that's when they started SCU. He said, but he needs back the TNT title. He needs to go out there and challenge Sammy. And when he does and wins the belt, Frankie will get that first title shot. Frankie says, you know what? I'll always have your back. And then got a random Thunder Rosa hype video where at the end she said, it's time to go double or nothing. Like, I beat Nyla Rose. I want the best competition. Now it's time to go double or nothing. Now, I want to read verbatim the tweet I sent out about Sammy and Ty. I mean, because I'm just over it. I said, Sammy and Ty are not even good, annoying heels. Like, good heels, you know, when you're a heel, like MJF. MJF is annoying on purpose because he's the heel, the annoying heel. Sammy and Ty, they're not even good at being annoying. They're just fucking horrible and annoying. Like, I can't stand them, and not in the way that you're not supposed to, not in the way where, well, they're heels, you're not supposed to stand them. No, that's not what I mean here. I mean, as far as like, I just can't stand the act at all. It's just the dumbest. My girlfriend's hotter than you. We're going to make out for a second. Oh, my girlfriend's hotter than you. Oh, you're just jealous. We're going to make out again. No. And they don't even play it in the good, annoying heel way. It's just the annoying of, no, don't do this anymore. At all. So Sammy and Ty were in the ring. Guevara said, happy. He's the happiest he's ever been because and at the same time they both go like this. 3. I'm a 3-time TNT champion. And he then says, you know, we got a lot of people here that love us and support us, and we can't thank you guys enough. But to everybody else, well, then they get close together, and he's like holding the mic, and they're like, be mad. And they don't even say it good. Like, they're supposed to be like their heel catchphrase or whatever, but they say it in the dumbest way where they're kind of just like, and they whispered it, and they're like, be mad. I'm like, what? Okay. Then out comes Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, Dan Lambert, and I go, fuck, have I never been more happy to see these three. And Ethan Page just goes full Ethan Page here. Oh my God, Ethan Page is great. When Ethan Page is riled up, he is fantastic on a microphone. When Ethan Page is riled up like he was tonight, he is fantastic on a microphone. He said that nobody came here for Sammy Guevara. No one came to hear him on a microphone. And the only reason they're not attacking Guevara right now is because Dan Lambert. Because tonight is all about business. Lambert then demanded Guevara give Sky a rematch. Guevara then said, you want a rematch for the belt? Yeah, I'll give you a rematch next week if we get the mixed tag. And the men of the year, they kind of discussed for a second, like, you got it. And then commentary was like, so who's the mixed tag with? Well, Paige Van Zandt and who? The next week for the TNT title, a ladder match. Like, we haven't seen that already in the last 3 months. Sammy in a ladder match for the TNT title. We got 2 stip matches next week. Again, AEW out here relying way too much on stipulation matches. We had the coffin match tonight that sucked. We have the ladder match next week. We have a Philly street fight next week. It's like, God. We had the freaking last Friday, the Texas death match. So it's like, just give us a show with regular matches. It's like they're not confident in their wrestlers to draw in regular matches, that every show's got to have some sort of a stip match, some sort of a specialty match. House of Black cut a promo. Black addressed Fuego del Sol and said, next week, the sun dies. Now, is this a darker Rampage thing? Because I have no clue what's going on with Malachi Black and Fuego. Let me know in the chat or the comments below. Because I have no clue what's going on with Black and Fuego at all. Like, he's calling out Fuego, and I go, oh, now Fuego. Oh, no, you're calling out Fuego for what? Huh? Britt Baker came out for her qualifying match against Danielle Kamela. Baker was accompanied by Pat Fairmouth and Najee Harris, members of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Kamela dominated early on through her commercial break. She taunted with a terrible towel. She literally grabbed the towel, wrapped it around Britt's face, and was like choking her or making her like, you know, a towel. I had a yellow towel right here. She like had the towel. She went, oh, right in her face, right? And she's wrenching back on it. The ref's looking, and he's just like, 1, 2, not like Hey, you're using a fucking foreign object. That's a DQ. Hey, AEW. I know you don't like to do DQs, so don't do shit in matches that are blatant disqualifications. You're using a foreign object brought into the ring. It would be different if maybe she's wearing a long, she's got some long sleeve and she's using the sleeve to wrap it around Britt's face. Or she's wrapping Britt's own hair around her face. No, she grabbed that terrible towel from somewhere, which I didn't even see where, and was wrenching Britt back with it. I'm like, ain't that a disqualification? Oh, wait, no. AEW refs are dumb and they're not allowed to do DQs. Not much happened in this match. After the terrible towel spot, Baker came back with a tackle, forearm, and a sling blade. Baker then landed a super kick, a twisting neck breaker, and a curb stomp. Barameth then handed her a Pittsburgh Steelers glove. She applied the lockjaw and immediately won the match. Then after the match, got a promo on some of the other women that are in the division. Not even just the other women in the tournament, but in the division. She said that Ruby Soho is like the redheaded stepchild or whatever. She calls herself the runaway. Maybe she should just run away. Then said, oh, and Toni Storm. Toni Storm, you got my girl Jamie Hayter in the first round. Well, you thought cake in the face was bad? Jamie's going to wipe the mat with your face. And then maybe you want to leave this company too. I'm like, oh. Got to make them WWE shots. But it's not a shot at WWE. It's a shot at Toni Storm for the last couple of months she was in WWE. She said something about Jade Cargill being the TBS champion and calling Pittsburgh ugly and saying that her baddies weren't good and cool and this and that. And then she said that she is your future women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup champion or whatever she said. It's all convoluted. They say it differently every time. Commentary doesn't even say it the same every time. The Owen Hart Foundation tournament or hold on, let me pull up the graphic. Because half the time they say Owen Hart Foundation tournament, but then we also hear them say Owen Hart Foundation Cup. But the graphic itself says the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. The Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament and the Owen Hart Foundation women's tournament. Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. There's a video hyping up their match next week, Philly Street Fight. Now, I'm going to try and go full Excalibur here. Excalibur was told, you got like no time to run down the lineups for the next 2 weeks of shows. Go. So I'm going to see if I can do this just like Excalibur. This coming Friday night on Rampage, we've got an Owen Hart Cup qualifier with Adam Cole taking on Tomohiro Ishii. With the TBS Championship on the line, Jade Cargill takes on Marina Shafir. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland will be interviewed by Tony Schiavone. Lance Archer will go one-on-one with Serpentico. Eddie Kingston will be taking on Daniel Garcia with their parties all banned from the arena. Also, hyping up the Women's Cup, we've got Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, and Britt Baker all interviewed by Tony Schiavone. Next week on AEW Dynamite, we have a Philly Street Fight where Hikaru Shida goes one-on-one with Serena Deeb. Wardlow takes on Lance Archer. In an Owen Hart Cup qualifier, Dax Harwood takes on Cash Wheeler. With the TNT Championship on the line in a ladder match, we've got Sammy Guevara defending the title against Scorpio Sky. And finally, we've got a 10-man tag team match as the Undisputed Elite takes on the Varsity Blondes, Dante Martin, Lee Johnson, and Brock Anderson. Woo! And yes, they just glossed right over it. The match that the world is talking about. A qualifier for the Owen Hart men's tournament. The Owen Hart Cup men's tournament. Dax versus Cash. FTR versus FTR. Oh, Lord, take my money now. I've already come in a bag. Oh, Lord. This match right here. Oh, this is going to be so good. This match is going to be fan-frickin-tastic. Woo! I can't wait. This is the match that sold me on next week's show. Screw the Philly Street Fight. Screw the ladder match for the TNT title. I'm only going to watch Dax versus Cash. I'm just kidding. I'll watch the whole show. But if I was like, being like, I don't care about anything except it's Dax versus Cash. Oh my God. I can only imagine what this match is going to be. I can only imagine what that match is going to be. It's going to be, holy crap, fantastic. Also, how's my Excalibur rundown there, doing it super fast. I thought I did okay. I stumbled a few times, but hey, it's all good. Then we had the main event. Coffin match, Darby Allin versus Andrade El Idolo. This match was not that good to me. I never got into it. I was never, like, invested. I was kind of just like, all right, this match was there. This match could have been in the middle of the show and just been a match. Just been a match. I honestly, they could have main evented this show with CM Punk and Dustin. Or they could have main evented this show with Jungle Boy and Kyle O'Reilly. And this match could have just been right in the middle or opened the show, because it honestly wasn't all that great to me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the match other than the first part of the match before the commercial break, when they focused more on Sting than the two men booked for the match, but talk about it. Early on, Darby hit Andrade with a skateboard and kept the Blade at bay until being overwhelmed by the numbers advantage with an attack from Queen. Andrade tossed Darby out into the ringside area. Quinn then ripped up a sign held by a fan in a Sting mask, who subsequently unmasked himself as Sting! It's Sting! Sting then beat down the Blade and Quinn with the trash can. Then they just focused way too much on these guys. Just way too much. The two teams were brawling for a while. Quinn and Sting were on a set of raised stairs. Quinn was handed a chair at one point. He hit Sting with the chair, and then Sting no-sold it, fired up, tossed Quinn off the stairs, and then, jumped off the balcony himself onto a pile of people below. Man's like 60-something years old. You're going to kill Sting. Anyways, once back, Andrade and Darby, once back from the break, Andrade and Darby Andrade had Darby trapped behind a chair in the corner. Darby used the chair to trip up Andrade before hitting a code red. He went for a coffin drop on the floor, but Andrade reversed into a German suplex. That was actually a cool spot. I will say that. Andrade put Darby in the coffin. Andrade went to put Darby in the coffin. When he opened the lid, he revealed that the lid, like the underside of the lid, was all covered in thumbtacks, making it difficult to grip. Which was weird here, because both men got stabbed with the thing and the thumbtacks. They were bleeding or anything. Were these real thumbtacks? I don't know. Because Andrade carried Darby up the ramp and hit at one point, Andrade threw Darby in the coffin, and when he went to close the lid, Darby put his arm up on the lid, and they were like, oh my God, Darby just stabbed himself. He stuck his whole arm with the thumbtacks. And I'm like, well, he's not really even selling. He pulls his arm off, and it's like, okay, maybe he didn't really stab himself because of the jacket. So later on, Andrade hits a delayed vertical suplex on the ramp. They jockey for position on the ramp with Andrade suplexing Darby on the steel grate. Back down to the coffin they go. Andrade tried to power slam Darby onto it, but Darby stunned him over the top rope. This is a weird spot where I looked away for a second, looked back, and they're fighting on the apron. And, like, he's got Darby up on his shoulder here. Darby flips over him and does, like, a stunner. He hits a missile drop kick and a suicide dive, sending Andrade into the coffin. Darby then used the coffin, or tried to use the coffin. What he did was, so this was weird, too. So he grabs the coffin, he goes to slam it shut right on Andrade, and Andrade blocks it and pushes it back. He ain't bleeding nowhere. Where's these thumbtack holes? Thumbtacks right into him? No. Jose then comes down, and he looks at Darby, and he starts taking his shirt off. And then Darby throws him onto the thing with thumbtacks. Again, he didn't get sticked. He didn't get bleed. No nothing. No blood. Come on. You got thumbtacks here, and you're blatantly stabbing people with these thumbtacks, and no one's bleeding? Huh? Anyways, eventually, he disposes of Jose, slams the lid, jumps on it, bada bing, bada boom. Darby wins the match. Sting walks back out to celebrate with Darby. All of a sudden, the camera's cut, and he's got the Hardys up on the ramp, and they're delete, 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 and they cut back to Darby in the ring, and then they cut back right to the Hardys. Delete, delete, delete. And then they cut back to Darby for like just a split, just to say Darby was the last shot off the air. American Dad. No, it's like, why bring the Hardys out there? I mean, I get it per se, The Hardys have had their issues with Andrade. Andrade stole Matt's group and da-da-da-da-da. But it's Darby's moment. Darby just won a fucking coffin match. You got to have the Hardys come out, not even to come out, walk down and go, yeah, Darby, raise Darby's arm. No. You get the Hardys to walk out, get on the stage, and try to get themselves over. Delete, 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 delete. Like, no. No, siree, Bob. That ain't the way we do it. That ain't the way we do it. You got this match build up as this big old coffin match. Big win for Darby, and you take the attention off of him. To me, that felt wrong for Darby. Felt wrong for Darby. But with that was AEW Dynamite. You know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show. Remember, you can put a super chat or a super sticker in the live chat on YouTube, or you could text in to 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. And before we do that, let's check the polls. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 75% liked the show, with 25% saying it was just all right. As far as YouTube poll does go, 77.8% liked the show, 22.2% thought it was just all right. And finally, YouTube poll. Let's pull this up here. 62% liked the show, 26% thought it was just all right, and 12% did not like tonight's Dynamite. So with that, as we move forward to the text messages, this person says, thoughts on Sammy Guevara becoming a 3-time TNT champion? I don't really care. How many times did they flip-flop that belt recently? Like, let's look this up really fast. How many times they flip-flop that belt recently to where that belt don't matter no more? I'm going to go on a hot take right here. TNT title don't matter no more. People bitch and moan and complain that WWE flip-flops belts, WWE hot shots titles and switches and this and that. How many times have they flip-flopped this TNT title recently? Since January 26th. So, since December. So December 22nd, Cody won the belt. Then on January 8th, Cody couldn't make it to defend the belt. Sammy became the interim champion. Then on January 6th, Sammy won the belt. So one would assume maybe Sammy was supposed to win the belt, a battle of the belts. Then Scorpio Sky won the belt. Then 3.5 weeks later, Sammy wins the belt back. I fucking hope that Scorpio Sky don't win that match next week, because it's just flip it floppy, flip it floppy, flip it floppy. Like, when this belt was first, this was supposed to be the working man's belt. At least that's what Cody said when they first introduced it. And somebody that has a long reign, like Cody did, like Darby did, like Miro did. Ever since they put that belt on Sammy, it's like, 1 or 2 months, 1 or 2 months, 1 or 2 months. Flip it, flop it, flip it, flop it. It's like, I don't really care for the TNT title. Because honestly, ever since, 2022 started, that TNT belt has felt like an afterthought with all the Sammy Guevara stuff. It is legit to me, and I could be wrong on this. It legit to me felt like an afterthought to all this Sammy Guevara, Scorpio Sky, Men of the Year, Ty Conti stuff. Our Bubba says, do you watch American Dad? No, not really. Not the biggest fan of the humor of American Dad and Family Guy. That's Seth MacFarlane stuff. I love Ted. I love Seth MacFarlane's Ted stuff, which is coming out with the new Ted show on Peacock. But like his cartoons, Cleveland Show and American Dad and Family Guy, I never liked the humor there. I never found it that funny. Never been a big Family Guy fan, not a big American Dad fan. If I had to pick one over the other, I liked American Dad a little bit better, but just a little. Anyways. Is there a reason FTR are fighting each other in the tournament? Hey, your guess is as good as mine. I have no clue. If it was anything, if I could guess anything, I would say maybe their idea. I could see them pitching something like this. This person said, do you think it's cool that AEW named Cole and Red Dragons the Undisputed Elite? Or do you think the name is lazy and named them something else? No. So at first I thought it was lazy. But when you really think about it, they are actually not referencing that they are the Undisputed Era, but that they are the Undisputed Era with the Elite. The Bucks and Kenny are the Elite. They are Undisputed Era. You match the names together because you've merged now two groups together, Undisputed Elite. So no, I don't think it's lazy. And at first I did Undisputed Elite, but then when you think about it, because at first when they started calling them Undisputed Elite, it was just Adam Cole and the Red Dragon. But now that we think about it, the Bucks are considered Undisputed Elite as well. One would assume Kenny is considered Undisputed Elite as well. So it's really taking the two groups and merging them together. I mean, once they're not Undisputed Elite anymore, even if they just call Adam Cole and Red Dragon the Undisputed, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not lazy, to be honest. I mean, that's what they've been. We don't know who actually came up with the name Undisputed Era. For all we know, that was like an Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, or Bobby Fish idea to call themselves Undisputed Era. We don't know. First says Kyle vs. Jungle Boy was match of the night. Yeah, sure. I mean, Dustin and CM Punk was really good. Also, fun fact, CM Punk wrestled tonight in Pittsburgh. This is the first time he's wrestled in Pittsburgh since January 26th, 2014. Do you guys know when January 26th, 2014 was? That was when Dr. Britt Baker DMD attended the 2014 Royal Rumble. Subsequently, CM Punk's final night in WWE. So tonight, Punk fought in the city that he had his last WWE match in. Or says CM Punk win the title at Double or Nothing, do you think? Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I can see reasonings to go both ways, but if I had to make a prediction now, which this is not my official prediction, I'll say sure. Put the belt on Punk. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PW Unlimited. Remember, we'll be back Friday morning for the wrestling wrap-up. I will not be live Friday night. I will not be reviewing SmackDown because, well, it's rodeo week here, folks. I got rodeo festivities I need to attend to Friday night. So with that, we'll be back live Friday morning for the wrestling wrap-up. And we'll still have news every single damn day going forward. So with that, guys, have a great night, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. All right. If you're still watching on